What's up, it's your boy Reed from Studio Rock Pile. We're back at it again with our war cleric that we were painting on Thursday. Just gonna give the stream a couple seconds to see if it actually decides to, stream correctly, not cut me off again. And yeah, tonight we're probably gonna, well, no, we're gonna do a little bit of highlighting, shading, and we're gonna show you guys how that's done. And if you're somebody who, again, just wants to slap a couple layers of paint on there, not really that big on making it look fancy, that's fine, you do you. Paint along with whatever you're painting. And let's get into it. So where'd we leave off? We were using more block bronze, and then I was going to highlight it with Balthazar gold. Keep a firm grip on your paints when you shake them, kids. Don't do what I do and nearly knock over your beer. I nearly just had a very expensive mistake. So last time we left it to sit after it was washed. On the palette still good? Yeah, it is. Invest once you get comfortable with paint, with your techniques and the basics, invest in a wet palette. It's good money. So it's absolutely worth it. I recommend the one from Breadgrass Games. Been using it for something like 2 years now, and it's holding up pretty well. So after you've washed it, wash dries in the recesses, and those are really all that we want to be dark. Otherwise, the rest of it's going to be all washed out, right? So we're just going to go over the raised edges. Anything that isn't a crevice. Honestly, I'm trying to get away from using washes just because with the wet palette you can get a lot of the same results without having to really go into it. And it's a lot faster, you don't gotta wait for the shades to dry, right? Oh yeah, just your raised edges. Just light touches, you don't want to accidentally get it in the recesses, just keep a little bit on your brush. And that's really where the wet palette does help, it lets you control how much you're keeping on the brush at once. And it helps if you have a nice over-the-shoulder light source, because it'll actually pick out highlights for you. So wherever it seems brighter than usual, just go ahead. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're not all going for golden demons and slayer swords and whatever other contests. And that's fine. I was actually thinking about going in for a golden demon for a while. And I decided against it. I'm gonna stick to local contests. There's too much pressure on big contests, the amount of shit you gotta do. And from what I've heard, there's a good deal of politics involved as well. And I'm in this for the hobby. I'm in this for the art of it. Don't want to have to, oh yeah, pick some. This judge really likes this thing or hates this writer, so don't pick one of those. Really, it should be an objective contest of skill. But the problem is with art, it's always a matter of taste, right? And we're just gonna, with the leg here, because that's shadowed in, I mentioned that last time, you can barely even make out that that's plate. We're not actually gonna do any crazy highlighting or shading with that, we're just gonna just very lightly touch the edge. Impression that, yeah, most of this is in shadow, so it is gonna be washed out. Yeah. I'll let that shade dry. We'll go over the boots. We're gonna mix a good deal of white. I actually pick up some of that gray. Is that still good? It's a bit much though. That's a bit much though. Okay, so we're gonna add a touch of black. And we're gonna mix backwards. With the black we don't gotta do much, so we're just gonna touch on the high points. Black we're just gonna do a little bit of edge highlighting. We'll just get a little bit on your brush. Again, less is more, but there's a magic balance to it, like I've said before. If you put on too little, you're gonna fuck up your highlights. You put on too much, and you're gonna lose all that depth because it's gonna get into all those little crevices that you don't want to do anymore. It's the trick with models this small, because they have trouble reflecting their own light. You're trying to make the deep parts as dark as possible, and then you're trying to make everything else contrast the edges and the raised surfaces, right? So just real gentle like. And it comes with practice. Should get one of those Tascam ASMR microphones so you can hear the brush strokes. That'd be funny. Is that what those are called? Tascam mics? Technology in them's impressive. And if you're gonna I was listening to a thing earlier today. I was gonna mention you can dry brush the fabrics if you want. That normally tends to go well. But I was watching an interesting thing today about not dry brushing. Sometimes, especially if you don't know how to do it, it can just ruin a model. I don't know, I've always had mixed results on it. Sometimes it looks great, sometimes it just looks like you dusted it with chunky paint. Glazes tend to be, I'm not a fan of them. I've had minimal success using them. You're just better off, especially once you have the wet palette, you're better off just blending your paint by hand. Oh no, is that a belt? Was that a belt that I painted metal? It's fine. It's fine, my wash is that dark you can't even tell. And we need more red. We're gonna go back with our flat red. You don't have to shake your paints every time you open them up again, but I always do it just out of habit. I think that goes back to one of the first paint pots I ever got. That shit separated so fast you wouldn't even believe. And just a touch of red, and remember where your brush leaves the model is where you're leaving the most pigment, so try to drag towards the higher areas, if you can. Parts that you want to shine the most, to stand out the most. Is the lighting okay? I know how that shit looks on my screen. Don't know how it looks on everybody else's. Man, it's been a whole ass day for not being able to pronounce words correctly. I had burritos for dinner and I had to ask for refried beans 8 separate times because my brain could not get the word out. And how do I want to highlight the red? I think we're just gonna mix in a little bit of white. Do I want to go orange? I want to go more orange with this. Or do I want it to be sort of darker? I'm actually tempted to just wash the cloak again and get a really deep red. Oh, yeah, yes. So, meme of the night is Bob Ross with, believe it or not, an official subtitle on his YouTube channel. For whatever reason, I was watching Bob Ross about a year ago while I was painting. Painting a bunch of grimy terrain. And so while he's painting nice naturescapes, I was painting bombed out industrial hellscapes for my table. And yeah, for whatever reason, I had closed captioning on, and that was the closed caption. Screeching. And the reference is, I don't know, I just googled War Cleric Inquisitor, and that's what came up, something that vaguely looks like the one I'm painting. There's no actual reference image for this model. Not with the color scheme I'm using. What god would this guy even be worshipping? What Pathfinder D&D gods are red and black? Probably one of the demons. And speaking of demons, I started a old co-worker of mine. Started a Rifts Chaos Earth campaign today. And I don't know, it's an interesting system, that one. Because what you are doing and your facings is more important than what your party can actually do in terms of abilities. Like, it's comedically specific. We spent 20 minutes, I'm just going over the high points on this hammer. We spent 20 minutes arguing about how our SWAT stack was going to go into a building. Because we're basically playing as armed forces. And then we spent 2 hours sweeping the building. And it went great until we actually found something that we had to fight. And then my character was only alive because of the way that health and damage works in that system. He took enough damage to die 30 times over. And was only alive because his armor took all the hits for him. It's weird. It's like you got a health bar, and that's the only health bar that really matters, because if that loses health, you're fucking dead. But then your armor has its own health bar. It's like different orders of magnitude, right? Like you got regular health, then 100 of those is structural damage, and then 100 structural damage goes up to mega damage. And yeah, you can go up in orders of magnitude, but in one attack you gotta do enough to count as 1 point at the higher level. Oh no, it's neat. I'm having fun with it. I like the setting. Basically, magic came back 100 years in the future all at once. And Earth got blown the fuck up and ravaged by crazy natural catastrophes. And now everybody's just trying to get by. Of course, this is an age of crazy powerful weapons, and power armor, and what have you. But holy shit. It was bad. I was getting thrown around the room like a fucking ragdoll while the rest of the party watched. I went, we should probably do something about that. Lieutenant doesn't know what the fuck's going on. One guy refuses to move until he's given orders. When he finally does move, he immediately gets fucking court-martialed. Not court-martialed, but reprimanded. There's no courts to marshal him anymore. And we're gonna highlight the book. We're just going over all the colors. I'm not really making many notes about that because it's the same thing I've talked about before. Just a little bit of paint on your brush, and where you want the most color to be. You can see it on camera now. The shading is actually a bit more prominent on the cloak, and we're gonna go over the high points in another lighter shade in a minute. I think I got all the no, we need his little armpit tassels. I don't know what the actual technical term is for that, but that's what we're calling them. They're armpit tassels. Put on way too much. Put on way too much. Brush it too wet. Dab it off. Dab a little bit off. Well, bam. Like that. Yeah. Yeah. You'll see me dragging the brush in different directions. So, well, is the highlight up or down? And the answer is yes. I don't know, it's a lot of it that comes with, like a feeling that you get for certain surfaces after a while. Like, yeah, I want to accent this part, so from this direction I need to drag the brush that way. It sounds like nonsense, but you paint a couple hundred of these and you'll get what I'm saying. I actually think I've painted a couple hundred of these. Paint 50 of these and you'll get what I'm saying. I actually should take stock. I don't know how many of these I've done. Probably a couple hundred, actually, now that I think about it, yeah. Some of them for games, some of them you just think, wow, that's cool. I want that on my shelf. Some of them are for paperweights. Sometimes because Monkey Brain's a shiny model, good as fuck. Buy. Buy it now. Don't worry about gas. Don't worry about tuition. Don't worry about groceries. Buy the shiny plastic army man. Spend obscene amount of time painting it. Put on shelf. Dust it once a year. When you remember that you actually have to dust things. I missed a few race spots with the gray, so we're gonna go back with the gray. Brush is too wet. Always dab off if you're not sure. Last thing you want to do is put on paint that's too watery and it gets into the recesses, just ruining what you were doing. Nobody wants that. It's not great. And always keep anything full of liquid that you could knock over out of forearm and elbow range, because you will knock it over. You will do what 19-year-old me did and spill Smirnoff Ice all over your model. Don't spill Smirnoff Ice on your models, kids. It's not good. He's got a little groove in his sleeve there, and I fucked up and got it in the recess. It's fine, nobody can see it. We'll clear it up real quick. I'll just take a little bit of black. And we'll just right under there. Yeah, cleaned up. Nobody will know. You can always go back over it. Remember that. Beverage of the evening is black coal stout. Good luck finding it anywhere. They were out of my favorite beverage this week. Oh good, my Balthazar gold is still nice. So we're gonna go back over our bronze, brass-ish armor. And this time we're just gonna get the highest points. Just where I'm angling my light at it to see where the light sort of reflects off the harshest. And we're just gonna cover those parts. Make it look like the light's coming from that direction. Might not show on camera as much as it is for me, just because the light's that way instead of up. But rest assured, that is what I am painting based off of. I'm going with a sort of more frontal light source. And so anything that would reflect heavily on that, I'm just gonna, because this side was facing into it, I'm just gonna do everything in Balthazar Gold. We're just gonna touch every raised surface. And then on the back side, because there is no light source pointed there, we're just gonna get the very edges with our Balthazar Gold. And then on the front, we're going to highlight again in solid gold and do a couple little touches of silver. And really, if you use a high gloss, like a high gloss finish on top of it as a seal, you don't really have to do any highlighting for your metal, because the paint's already metallic. And the high gloss seal just makes it that shiny. Actually, I just realized because I highlighted the rest of it, like whoever the fuck without paying attention to light, whatever, doesn't matter. That's how we doing it now. That's how we're going. Actually, you can kind of catch the light there. There. Put a little bit there and there. And we'll just along the edges. Make sure to not touch any of the fabric. If you get that gold on the fabric, yeah, you can see it's like, oh, there's a little bit of... Actually, I've seen some neat sort of stippling done to make it seem like there's gold thread worked into whatever material. That can look good. Am I liking that? Do I want to put a little bit of... Yeah, we're going to put a couple touches of solid gold. I haven't touched my solid gold in... I don't remember the last time I touched it, so let's hope this hasn't dried out completely. And I'm also going to grab a little bit of Radiant Platinum. And let's not toss my paint across my room again. I just learned that jam and XR changes based on the day of the week. Yes! Yes, she does, Tim. My friend is sending me fighting game facts about a character that I used to main in Guilty Gear. I'm not going to repeat it on stream. And so we're just gonna... I don't know if this is too watery or not. This paint is already pretty watery to begin with. So yeah, we're just gonna very lightly with the tip of the brush just touch the edges of the surfaces that we just highlighted. These are the highest points. We only want to touch the part that's going to be catching the light. Remember, this is supposed to be a bronze type color. We're not painting gold. Not a gold material, it's gold-ish. Personally, I don't like gold. It's a tacky color. Darker antique type golds? Yeah, they're fantastic. They're great. They are very pleasant to look at as far as I'm concerned. But like that radiant yellow gold is just... Please use it sparingly. It's gross. My mom actually used to have one of those disgustingly gold chandeliers in the living room. And I just... Ugh, it was terrible to look at. Opulent, is that the word? Problem is that it looks like It's straight up, yes? Can I help you? There's a cat here that wants in my lap, but I don't want cat hair all over this. Much as I do want to give him attentions. Here, you can have a scritches. There. Here, you can have a scritches. There you go. Now go take your nap. You can cuddles in a bed. Yeah, he's an old boy. A fussy old cat. And do I have any other edges on it? Yeah, we'll put it on. Put it on one or two more edges. I can see one or two that could probably benefit from it. So we'll just get a little bit. And this is another color that has a cap on it's fucked up. So I gotta be careful when I open it. Just a little bit there. And there. And a little touch there. And there. And a touch there. We'll go for that. And that doesn't look like it had any on it. Okay. A little bit there and there. Alright. And then, last but not least, take just a tiny bit of Radiant Platinum. Just a touch. Just that little bit. That's all we need. Nothing crazy. And we're just gonna not drag it, we're just gonna dab little high points on the corners. Just up on the corners. Wherever that shit's shining the brightest, just put a little dab, a little touch. It's difficult to do until you really, like, I personally think it looks terrible, but I've been complimented on it a couple of times. And you only get better by practicing, so we're just doing a little dab because it's supposed to be that little pinprick of light that's reflecting off, right? When done correctly, it does set it off. I dropped my brush and my purple. It's fine. The purple was mostly dry. Actually, you know what? I'm feeling very thin line of it there. Yeah. Yeah, that looks okay. Again, just less is more with the paint. You don't want to have too little. You also don't want to have way too much. If you think you need more, just put on more. Touch it 2 times, 5 times. Till it looks right. Who's booping me? Who's sending me messages? Touch up the little buttons. Let them touch those before. Oh, and we also got to go over his Warhammer. Might as well. Oh, we got our silver out. I'm not going to bother reshading the Warhammer with metal. Oh, with pig iron. So we're just gonna drag it over the raised areas. Or the edges. I don't know. Whatever I feel looks good. Remember, at the end of the day, it's sitting on your shelf. It's on your table. So do whatever you think looks good. And you will. You'll go back to models over the years and been like, kinda wish I'd done this. And you can. You can always repaint a model if you don't like it. Couple I've repainted. Oh, there's one I fucking remodeled a couple times at this point. He went from just being a dude with a plasma gun to being, well, one of the heroes in my army. He's a named character now. He gets to be a special boy because he did some cool stuff. He dropped a tank that was about to run him over, fucking blew it up on the spot. Boy is a hero. He saved the rest of his squad. Yeah, yeah, there we go. That looks good. Alright, and then for the skin, we're just gonna take my leftover Kisveld flesh, and we're gonna touch up his high points. We're gonna highlight his big shiny forehead, and his cheekbones, and his nose. And just a little touch on that cheek there. Oh man, that wash settled poorly in that eye. That wash settled real bad in that eye. Damn you, plastic imperfections. Ruining this. How dare this $2 model have imperfections like that in it. Just ruining it. Actually, yeah, those metals are really starting to look nice on camera now. I'll sort of turn it a little bit. As you can see, this side is shinier now, and has a couple little, like, it catches the light better. Whereas this side is, even when the light's shining on it, it's a lot duller. And that's what I'm talking about, right? So now when he sits on the table, he'll look brighter from one side and darker on the other. And it's a lot easier to do with metals, just because they actually do reflect light with the light. Yes, that didn't come out the way that I meant, but basically, as you move, like when you try to force a perspective with shading and blending, perspective is ruined as you rotate the model. But with metallic paints, because it actually does reflect light in a rather shiny way, it is sort of preserved to an extent. But again, that's the thing with it's one of the reasons why I like the heavy metal style of painting, where it's just layer and emphasize those high points and those low points. We're gonna take a little bit of gray and we're gonna go back over here. I think I missed an edge. This is because it works at any perspective. It's not about forcing a perspective or giving an idea that yes, light is coming down from here. It's purely just emphasize the grooves and the features and the surfaces of the model, and let the light, the natural light, do the rest. It's also just, it's quick and it's easy. I've seen a guy spend 18 hours blending a non-metallic breastplate. It was terrible. Not in my parchment paint. It's fucking okay. I don't know if that's not I can, but the parchment I had separated out to a weird kind of neon yellow. Like, oh, look at that. That's kind of gross. That's kind of gross. Can I zoom in on that? Fan on that a little bit. And I just kind of, yeah, look at that. That's gross. Right there. Cancel those. Oh, bam. That closed my focus window. Hang on. There we are. Turning off autos. I'm going back to my focus of 60. Now I learned that I can do that. Cool. But yeah, bring that up because now we're gonna go over the book again. I'm gonna go over the book with our parchment paint. Now there's a bunch of fluff on my brush. Okay, great, fantastic. Always watch out for that. If you can see little hairs and bits of fluff on your brush, doesn't matter how much paint's loaded up on there. Get rid of it, cause it will come off in the paint, and it will ruin and texture whatever surface you're working with. It can be kind of okay on skin tones, just because then it looks like another added vein. But on things like books and fabrics, and especially metals, it's terrible. Why are you not showing it? There we go. Oh, this is awful. That angle is terrible. I need to get a longer cable. I can have the camera. I kind of want an over-the-shoulder camera, but all the USB ports on the front of my computer are questionable at best. So, boys plugging in the back to the highest speed connection USB port I got. Okay. I get a little bit of white paint off of there. No. No, that's ruined. Okay. So we're gonna grab her Vallejo White, our Citadel Kislev Flesh. My white's all dried out. Put a little bit more. It's real watery, so that's all we're gonna put. And we're gonna take a glob of Glizveld. Not too much actually, because I don't need that much. I just need a little bit. Just a bit. Just a bit. We're gonna little brow divide. I just noticed that there's another little ridge there. Let's get that a little closer up. Over his cheekbone again. And just even it out. And then we'll mix a little bit of white in there. Now, I am by no means a master of painting skin tones, so better at it than a number of people in my local game store, just because I paint miniatures that tend to have exposed skin, more so than other people. We're just gonna touch the high points. Just gonna touch them ever so slightly. The trick to highlighting is constantly go over a smaller and smaller surface area, as the light is shining brighter on less and less, as the surface starts to angle away from the light. What? What are you saying there, but oh, he wants it. My little man wants it. He's gonna go in the hallway. Hang on a minute. He is a fussy old cat, and I love him. You big fluffy boy. He's a big grumpy old orange cat. He's the goodest little lad. He likes to sit in my lap while I paint, and I don't like him to sit in my lap while I paint, because then I get cat hair on everything. And yes, we're gonna be putting script in the book, so don't worry about that. Nobody worry about that. Oh shit, we got 2 viewers, I just realized. Nice, that's up from the usual 1. Alright, I think that's... We're gonna highlight the pages though. I'm gonna take a little bit of white. And we're gonna mix it with our ugly yellowy parchment. We're gonna make it a bit brighter. And it's watery as shit. And we're gonna dry off the brush. Just dab off a little bit of water. Some people lick the brush, some people wipe it off on their thumb. I've got a little bit of paper towel. And we'll just get the corners. Just the edges. And it all comes with practice. Remember, my first edge highlights were messy. My current edge highlights are still messy. It's fine. Sometimes you have good days, you paint real good. Sometimes you have bad days, your brushes betray you. Mind you, I've still won contests with shitty brushes, so best not to blame the brushes. No shitty tools, just shitty tradesmen. And that book dries before we paint on that. We're gonna take a bit of white. We're gonna mix in a bit of red. Is the side with the white brighter? Or, yes, the side with the white should be brighter. It was darker there for a second. But I want more of a gradient to play with. Okay, here we go. Now I'm pleased. It's too wet. It's too much. Tap a bit off if you have to. You can always put more on. It is difficult to take paint off once it is there. And we're just gonna go over the edges. And I'll probably do. Oh no, I wanna practice my shading. So I'll probably do several. Maybe 3 layers, maybe 2 more after this. I'm feeling 2 more after this. Again, just go over less surface area than you did last time. On whatever it is that. No! Touch the metal. I touched the metal. It's fine. There we go. Wiped it off. I got it. Some people are crazy with the no, don't touch your fingers. The oil from your hands will ruin the acrylic paint. And those people are correct. And they're also neurotic and wear nitrile gloves when they paint. You don't have to do that, kid. If you're a pro painter who does like 50 of these a day, and they're for other people and not yourself, sure. If you are me, and you don't care, these are just going on your shelf, or you're just doing them for practice, who cares? And if you're one of those people with sensitive skin, by all means, have at it. But I've painted all my miniatures barehanded, and the paint on none of them has started peeling unless I've taken a hobby knife to it. So, except for one that was manhandled by a guy that I was friends with back when I started school, and he just rubbed all the paint off of it with his big fucking manimal paws. I don't let him touch my models anymore. Oh yeah, that stand it out a bit more. Yeah. Now we're talking. Now you can see a bit better gradient. And we're just doing it quick and dirty, nothing fancy. We're not masterclass yet here. That's I'm a ways off from that. Masterclass techniques scare me. And it's okay to be scared of trying things with your models. Some of these are very expensive. This one isn't, so I'm just doing whatever. I'm not worried about ruining it. It's not even one I think that I was gonna paint. I don't even remember having this one, shit. It just happened to be on my desk the other night when my hobby knife broke, so. Alright, and then we're gonna mix some more white into our red. And I may have fucked that up. It's fine. And a bit lighter again. Less surface area. Oh yeah, I mixed this way too light. It's fine. can smudge it a little. That's okay. This will be the last one. I mixed this way too bright. And just, again, an even smaller area. It actually might be too watery. That should be fine now. Let's dab off that little bit of water. And put on too much. If you can take it off, after you apply too much, count yourself lucky. And just dab that little bit off. No one's gonna penalize you. No one's gonna complain. As long as you're happy with the end result. And then all that's left is the hair. And maybe I'll do the eyes if I'm feeling it. Yeah. Just very quickly. Just little tiny pads. Here and there. The last highlight you apply should always be the tiniest, and it should just be on the absolute highest points, nothing fancy. It's there to enunciate, or punctuate rather than enunciate. There we go, that's it. Some of you don't know what either of those words are, and that's fine. I barely know what they mean. There we go. Yeah, look at that now. You really... That's what you want. You want to emphasize the recesses and the raised edges. And then if you start to study lighting, it starts to get weird. And I don't like it when it starts to get weird. Because then you start doing things like highlighting the recesses, and that scares me, and I don't like it. Audio stream's current bitrate 0 is lower than the recommended bitrate. We recommend that you use... Is this muted? Oh, I've been muted this entire goddamn time. I better not be. Bitrate 0 is lower than the recommended bitrate. No, I can hear me on that playback. Okay, it's fine. I don't know what it's complaining about. I don't know. I'm not a professional. Oh, unless these little... I'm just gonna get a little bit down here. I really shouldn't be highlighting these parts with the absolute highest highlight, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Because I feel like it. And it's my model. I'll do what I want with it. And nobody's gonna tell me no. This is my model. I'll put pink highlights on the red if I want to. Put one there. I'll put one more there. And one more there. Oh, bam. Look at that. It's subtle, and that's what we're going for with some of these. Here, do I wanna get a little bit of... Do I wanna risk dry brushing? Do I got my old chunky white paint that I can use? Yes, we do. Got an old thing of Privateer Press. I'll get my old dry palette. And that may sound impressive, but it's actually just the bottom of a base that I use for dry brushing. Oh my god, that paint is solid. I don't actually think I can dry brush with this. This just may straight be fucked. Just maybe. Nope, we got out a bit. We got out a little bit. I just ruined this brush. We got white up in the thing. Wash it thoroughly. It's a cheapy brush, so I don't really care, but it's never nice when you get the paint up in the thing that holds the bristles. I forget what it's called. The fuller? It's not the fuller. It might be the fuller. Anyway, so yes, we will put just a little bit of paint on our dry palette. We're gonna get out this old, cheap as fuck, so cheap it'll give you a rash, dollar store makeup brush. I found in my garage. Get a little bit of white paint on it. Just a little bit, just like that. And then we're gonna dab most of it off. This seems wasteful. It is. We're going to remove any fluff that picked up, because my room needs dusted, and I'm an animal who doesn't dust as often as I should. And we're just going to, very lightly, maybe a bit rough, just drag it over his hair. Just drag it over his hair. You can go back and forth. You can go just down. I'm doing it back and forth on the top because hair, the directional light and what have you. Normally on vertical surfaces you just want to drag it down, because that's the way the light's going. And because this is a not at all accurate dry brush, it's gonna get a little bit on the pauldrons in the cloak. See, and it comes off a little. That's why I never have luck. When I dry brush, you can see the little white flecks. Sorta, kinda. Let's turn the focus away in. And see what I mean there. You can actually see those little white flecks getting in the crevices of the cape. It's not great. It's not great. Dry brush's job is done. We can put it away now. Just wash off the edges. Dry brushes, they can take a lot more abuse than a regular brush. But you still gotta clean them, or else, like a regular brush, you will destroy them very quickly. This is a makeup brush I got for free. I don't care. It's cheap. So cheap. You'll get a rash. I'm gonna wash my hands after this just so I don't get a rash from having touched it. It's that cheap. It's that bad. Alright. You know what? I'm gonna touch in his eye socket with some more black. Just because I really don't like that flaw in the model. Let's see if I can get that to show up on camera, so you can see what I'm talking about. So, you got the one eye. That one's fine. There on the left. But the one on the right. See that little black dot? That little black dot right there in the tear duct? That is a hole in the plastic that I didn't notice before I applied the wash. And that's half the problem with washes. So we're just gonna fill that entire business in with black and make it look like it's shadowed, because his hair is over there. No, we can't see anything. There we go. Look at that. Perfect. You'll never even notice that it's there. Great. Fantastic. And now we're gonna try and put a little pupil. Just again, same as edge highlighting. Put a little bit of paint on it. Less is more, but also have more than none at all. And we're just gonna do a little dab. That came out weird. Now he looks like he's got a demon eye, but who cares? Around that a little bit. There we go. Much better. Look at that. Look at that. You got an eyeball now. Looking dead ahead. I might even go over it with another layer of wash just to hide it. That's the main thing that washes are best for, is hiding your fuck ups. If you're one of those people who's just doing it to get through. Arm is itchy, goddamn. Alright. And we're basically done. Last thing that we're gonna do, gonna get some black on the brush. You want your brush head to be flat as possible. And then orienting that edge, the direction of the script, you're just gonna, let's get it in the middle so you can see. You're just gonna do shaky little lines. You're just gonna dab along in a little line. You want your brush to be, you want it to be kinda wet, but it's that edge that really helps. And you can, put a little block. Sometimes these books have nice little blocks that punctuate sentences. And you can see it's coming along. And keep your brush wet. Don't let the paint dry, because you'll ruin the brush and you'll ruin the effect. Apparently you can, there's a textured ink paint. I don't know. I've never found it. Made specifically to do things like this. A little blank spot there because I'm going to put a red bit of text. Yeah, fancy. And just again, shaky hand. Shaky hand, wet brush, a little bit of black. That's the real trick, is the shaky hand. And the keeping your brush point to an edge. Which, I just messed up there. No, we'll stay calm. Reapply our paint. And of course, some people got different ways that they do these, but this is what works for me. And you gotta find what works for you. Sometimes you do that by watching other people, and sometimes you do it by experimenting on your own. A little bit of black, a bit of red, a bit more red, and a lot more red. And now that looks sort of like an ink that I could put in there. We'll square. That's all brush control. Just practice and you can do this. Just gotta develop that motor function. That's all. Yeah. Actually, we'll get it to script out too. Get it to pen over. A little bit in the corners too. I may have done too much, but who cares? As long as you're happy with the results. That's all that matters. It's kind of doing like little corner liners. You know, like you ever seen like a illuminated religious text that put a lot of fun little drawings and patterns in the margins. I give it a little bit of flair. Do I have a deeper cerulean that I can use? Actually, that seems like a dark enough blue. Let's do that. Let's put a little blue. Did I leave another spot there? That square? Doesn't matter. I'll just paint over it there. Yeah, just like that. There you go. Look at that. Painted book. And let's readjust the focus so we can show that off real nice. There you go. See? Easy. Takes a little bit of practice and a light touch. You'll get there too one day. And if you're already there, great. Alright, so that's our boy. Painted and highlighted. I'd say that turned out pretty good. 2 hours of work, roughly. Not bad. Getting faster all the time. Alright, well, I think we'll call it here. Hope you enjoyed it. Anybody who is watching, if you're watching in the future, thank you. And, yeah, keep on. It all comes with practice, kids. Stay safe out there. We unfortunately live in interesting times. Good night.